we're recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar. I'm Nora Yolles Young, and with me is Jennifer Catlin. Jennifer, say hi.
Hi.
So we're both in North Carolina, and we're so happy that you all are here. And so what we're going to talk about today is, can I be hypnotized? And we're not talking about can I, Nora, be hypnotized. We're talking about, can you be hypnotized? Do you hear that as often as I do in your practice, Jen?
I do. People come in constantly, even though they want clinical hypnosis or hypnotherapy. There is often a question of wondering if they'll be successful, or can I do this, or will this even work?
Yep. So there you have it. Your question of can you be hypnotized is very, very common to hypnotherapists. So briefly, I'll talk a little bit about myself, and Jen can talk about herself. I've been a hypnotherapist since 2011, and I do clinical, transpersonal hypnotherapy. We're both very client centered in our work. And we also do regressive hypnotherapy and spiritual hypnotherapy. So that includes past life regression. It includes life between lives session and a variety of different things that we can talk about at a future webinar if you're interested. And so we're going to give you our email addresses and our website information. So if you have anything at all that you're interested in learning about, either text or chat in the chat box provided here in the meeting, or send us emails, and we'd love to respond to this. And if you're not on the call, we're going to put it on make it available on our websites and on my YouTube channel. So you'll be able to access it there. Just look up my name and it'll pop on up. So without further ado, Jen is going to share her background. And I don't know if I really actually covered much about it. My educational background is archaeology and anthropology, and I'm also an energy healer, and that's just the short and sweet of it. All right, Jen.
Okay, so I originally began my career as a school psychologist, and I also certified as a yoga teacher, and I've taught mindfulness for many years. So I was introduced to mindfulness in graduate school, and so then turned hypnotherapist. And so I'm doing that along with teaching mindfulness and combining it.
Awesome. Yeah, mindfulness is a really powerful tool, as you, the audience, may or may not know. And it's basically hypnotherapy. It's a very well put together approach, and there's a lot of scientific study of it. And so we can actually blend that with our work. So today we're going to talk about, can you be hypnotized? And so what I'm going to say is, I'm going to say the whole answer, but you got to stick with us, even though I'm going to tell you that, yes, of course you can be hypnotized. And Jen's going to talk a little bit about what hypnosis is and what hypnosis isn't. And we're going to have a fun conversation about it, because believe it or not, you're hypnotized far more often throughout the day than you even realize. Take it away, Jen.
All right. Well, that's a good point to start off with, Nora, is that people are hypnotized pretty frequently throughout the day without even consciously being aware of it. And so one thing to note that I think is important is that all of us, 100% of us, are hypnotized every day. Every day at some point in the day, we all experience it. So what it is, in short, really is just a slower, concentrated state of focus, a slower brainwave state. So your brainwaves are slowing down a little bit, allowing you to concentrate on something specific. And it is something we come in and out of. There are various states or levels of hypnosis all the way until you fall asleep. So when you are going from a fully conscious, awake, aware state to going to sleep at night or whenever it is you sleep, then you are passing through various levels of hypnosis. And same thing when you're waking up in the morning, you're passing through that state very naturally. And we'll talk about some other examples in a little bit. But when people hear the word hypnosis. Nora, what do you get from clients when they're coming in and they have these preconceptions of what hypnosis is?
They often are a little bit intimidated, I'll tell you the truth. I mean, there are people who have done it. Like if they've never done it, then there are a lot of concerns to collapse right out of the gate, because I think, and part of what it is to be client-centered is to really listen to you, the client, and your concerns. And people are afraid that they're going to spill the beans on some inner secret that they feel like might be exposed, especially teenagers and kids. Absolutely, that's not going to happen.
Right.
And I think people also feel like they're going to be programmed, because there's a lot of bad press out there about hypnosis. So those are two of my main, like, stressed out, like, I'm really concerned, I don't know if this is going to work for me. And if honestly, any of you who are aspiring hypnotherapists, if you're not able to create an environment for your clients to feel safe, it won't be successful. So it's really important to create that safe environment. So
yeah. And I get the other thing I get a lot is a lot of people seem to have an idea of what they think hypnosis is based off of what they've seen in the media. And so most of what has been portrayed on TV or stage shows are something called entertainment hypnosis, which to them, to the audience, looks like somebody has power over someone else and can make them do things. And it's not like that at all. So,
right.
Yeah.
That whole, like, are you going to make me cluck like a chicken?
Yes, exactly. And no, we can't make you do that if you don't want to do that.
Right. And that's just really not a part of what we're actually here to do with you. But
No.
if you really, if you, and some of you may have been on those stage shows. I've been a part of those stage shows in college, and they weren't, I wasn't a chicken clucker, but there were chicken cluckers.
Yeah. I mean, it can be a lot of fun. If you're out having a fun night with friends, it can be something really fun to do, but you can never be made to do something that you don't want to do. So absolutely. Entertainment hypnotists are trained to know exactly who is willing to go along and play along with this and who wants to be engaged. And they will have those people back in their seats before the audience even knows that they're just not willing to go along with it anymore.
Yep, so they know the signs. They know right away how to tell.
Yes, before anybody else even does. They're recognized to know that. And so it's just a fun experience to do sometimes, but it's very, very different from what we do in a clinical setting in our office.
Totally.
Yeah, clinical hypnosis and also spiritual hypnosis, when we're doing more things like regression and spiritual exploration, are very different things. There is nothing, even if a person comes in, for example, to quit smoking or because they want to lose weight or achieve a specific goal, we cannot wave a magic wand and make somebody do that, nor can we make anybody divulge any deep secrets either. And so
right. It's
self-hypnosis.
Right. It's that idea that people are going to come into our office and we're going to make them pass out like anesthesia. And that's absolutely not going to happen. No. You're actually going to know what's happening to you. You're going to be an active participant in your experience. And hypnosis is really more about how you focus your attention than passing out and having somebody wave a magic wand.
Absolutely. I tell people that a lot of times they might even be a little bit surprised after the session, like, oh, that was it, just because it takes away the whole mystery about it. That it's really something very useful, and almost everybody I work with says it feels really great. It's just kind of like almost like I describe it as a mental massage. Instead of getting a massage for your body, you're like getting some relaxation for your mind and emotions. And anytime you're going through a state of hypnosis in a clinical setting, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So you're really just giving yourself permission to relax your mind a little bit, to actively use your imagination and to kind of let yourself daydream through various guided imagery or various techniques. Our sessions, as you know, are interactive. Not all people who do clinical hypnosis have necessarily interactive sessions, but we find that to be extremely useful for gaining insight and really resolving what is going on under the surface. But when a person is going through it, for anybody listening to this recording or participating, you remain fully aware, awake, alert, and in control the entire time. You're never transported somewhere else where you're not conscious of what's happening. You can hear all of the sounds around you. You're still aware of, whatever room or space you're in. But in order to concentrate and focus on I describe it almost like a meditation, but it's not meditation, but it's the same state as what it feels like to be in meditation or at the end of a yoga class when you're doing shavasana and lying in relaxation. It's that same state. That is a state of hypnosis. We're just using that brainwave state to guide you through various experiences to help you achieve your goals.
Absolutely. And, and that's, you brought up a minute ago, that it's a really good point that, not all hypnotherapists are the same. And so, hypnotherapy has also evolved. There's hypnosis, there's hypnotherapy, and we can get into more of those nuances in other webinars. But briefly, it's evolved. There used to be more of a emphasis on getting you to that hypnotizable state, and then inserting more suggestion-oriented wording. And what it's evolved to, hypnotherapy, there's a therapeutic element that's involved now. And I'll just quickly say that it involves your imagination. And a lot of people might say, well, then does that mean I'm making it up as I go? And the answer is no, that your mind is much like in a dream state. Your mind communicates through imagery and symbolism, and your imagination is really a vehicle for that deep communication.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can show you a little visual. Nora, you've seen this. One of our mentors and trainers, Paula Ron, described this. But so you have the subconscious mind right here. I'll use my fist to represent that. And then your conscious mind sits on top. The subconscious holds memories of everything we've ever experienced in our entire life. And yet, if we were to go through our day-to-day lives with no filter on any of those memories, we wouldn't be able to function. It would just be too overwhelming.
Could you imagine? Yeah.
No.
It would be totally overwhelming. Well, I think that's what people who are dealing with like schizophrenia, like people who are having like psychotic, like their filters are much thinner. They're not able to filter out some of those elements that are going on, and then they can't be in reality.
Sure. Yeah. And it's so important to have that filter, and the filter is our conscious mind. And that's what allows us to get through our day-to-day activities, to analyze, to think. And yet it also can be what sort of contains us into being into a stuck place and get into stuck patterns of behavior, because most of our it does. And our subconscious drives the majority of our behavior. It's just hidden below the surface. We can't always access what it is, where these, behaviors are coming from, but they will seep out. And so we have the subconscious and the conscious mind. When you guys are going through a state of hypnosis, all we're doing is lifting the lid of the conscious mind. It stays there so that you're still overseeing the session, you're aware of the session and everything that's going on, you're awake. You're just a little more relaxed so the conscious mind is open a little bit more. And all it does is it allows us to access what's underneath. And so that happens through that imaginative, daydreamy state, but it's not like you're forced making things up. It's like things show up to you and they're just much more spontaneous.
Right. And it's a progression, right? So if you're in a place where you're in that conscious state, that lid's closed tightly, and you're not letting the fluidity of your subconscious mind to flow. And as it comes open, your ability to your desire to control what's coming starts to alleviate. And that can happen through the relaxation process, which is why when you're just waking up in the morning and you're all relaxed and fresh, or when you're falling asleep, why your brain is more in that plastic state.
Yes. Yes, very much so. There's other times in our day when we all go through states of hypnosis rather than just falling asleep or waking up. That's just a state that we all experience because everybody goes to sleep at some point. But anytime we daydream, for those of you that are daydreamers, that happens in a state of hypnosis. That's what hypnosis is. A lot of times,
so you want to be careful about what you're daydreaming.
For sure. Well, I'm sure one thing that everybody can relate to that we've talked about too is worry. Anytime we worry, we're in a state of hypnosis, but it's being utilized in an unhelpful way.
Right. Is that loop going on? Is that like, I can't believe I didn't say yada, yada, yada when my family relative-in-law, blah, 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 the negative loop. Yeah.
All the stories. Yeah.
All the stories, all of the limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves,
yes.
That you're actually hypnotizing yourself in that mindset. So we're going to encourage you to self-hypnotize and choose differently in that when you're in a suggestive hypnotizable state. Sorry, continue, Jen.
No, that's okay. I mean, yeah, you're right. Other times that you guys might have experienced being in a state of hypnosis are driving a car. A lot of times you can be driving and just sort of get into that daydreaming state without realizing you're even there. And then all of a sudden you're at your destination and forgot how you got there.
That's honestly the most common one that I find. Everybody who's ever driven a car totally can relate to that.
Yeah.
So you're hypnotized when you're driving you're in that zone.
Yes. That's exactly what it is a zone. Mm-hmm. A lot of times watching TV, and that's why commercials could be, so effective, but we kind of get into that zone in TV. You're still aware of where you are. You're still aware of all the sounds going on around you as you're watching TV, but you're in that concentrated kind of focused state. The TV's on the forefront of your mind instead of everything else going on around you. Absolutely. Reading books, we can get into that.
Video games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yep. So lots of different examples of hypnosis.
You all know it's true. You all know you're hypnotized. You know it.
That's right.
So,
not something mysterious, that the media has kind of portrayed it to be something. There's like this entertainment value and focus, and that can be fun, but that's not what hypnosis is at all. You, as the client experiencing hypnosis sessions or hypnotherapy sessions, are the ones who are in complete control. You guys hold the power, not us. Our job is to help facilitate connecting you to your own inner voice.
Yeah, you can clamp down on that conscious, that conscious part can just go, nope, not going to do it. And that happens sometimes, and it's okay. And a well-trained hypnotherapist will help you to relax again, because there are things that sometimes come up and create a little bit of a like, oh my gosh, I didn't, maybe you'll experience something and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm ready. That is what we are there for, is to help soften that experience so that you can go there in a way that feels safe. And
safety is so important, right? I mean, experiencing it, nobody's going to be able to relax and really let themselves open up and let go in that way unless you feel safe. So you have to feel safe in the environment you're in with the person you're working with. And some people who have, if you have any trauma in your background or just some real challenging experiences you've gone through, then every once in a while it might take another session or so, or just some practice just to be able to get yourself to open up to feeling safe enough to go where you need to go.
Absolutely. And since time is flying and we could talk about this forever, right. I know, because we love this topic, we should move on to the uses of hypnosis and why people would come to us to seek hypnotherapy services. So I can start that, but I'm sure the two of us.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So, really, if you have a goal, you can see a hypnotherapist. So, one of the things I like to tell my clients is, in sports, sports coaches have known about the power of self-hypnosis forever, right? Like, haven't you ever heard visualize the win? So in performance of any kind, like if you're a dancer, if you're a runner, anything athletic, absolutely. Fears and anxiety and stress are probably the bread and butter, I would say, of most hypnotherapy, practices, just because so many people experience that. Would you agree, Jen?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think pretty much everybody at some point in life, many people more often than not experience worry.
Yeah, worry.
So like that worrier within us can kind of go on overdrive and then cause us to live very fearfully or get stuck in ways that aren't serving us. And people want to change things like that for sure.
Yeah, worry, it really can become a way of life. And when worry is happening, a lot of negative things come along with it, are hand in hand with worry. So it's from a holistic point of view, worry wreaks havoc on the nervous system, and it wreaks havoc on the sense of self-esteem. Like it has a cascade of catastrophic effects on a person's being. And so if you or someone is experiencing tremendous worry, stress, fears, definitely hypnotherapy is a really powerful tool for shifting that. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jen.
No, I agree with everything you're saying. There's other achieving goals of any kind people will come in for. So quitting smoking, losing weight, breaking habits. There are habit changes that people want to seek out. You mentioned stress management. Stress reduction is huge. A lot of stressed out people.
Relationships are a really big thing too. People who have sexual performance, fertility is a really powerful thing for both the person wanting to conceive and the person supporting the conception. There's often a lot of stress involved with that. Children, sleep issues,
spiritual exploration.
Yeah, and we haven't even touched that. And I'm sure we're going to have a webinar on that.
Yeah, we can focus just on that. Yeah.
So we could say a little bit about it. I mean, I've talked to you about it, so I know you would agree, but that people are coming into an awareness of their deeper essential being. And that is often aligned with a spiritual component, and not necessarily denominational, but it can be something associated with a religious practice. And, a well-trained hypnotherapist is not going to be in the business of being judgmental about a particular point of view. It is our training to be incredibly nimble and able to roll with whatever your belief system is, because we're not trying to convince you of anything. We're trying to support you in achieving your goals. And there's a huge difference.
And finding your own voice. Like, we don't want you to find our voice. We want you to find your voice and connect with that and what resonates for you. So we are trained to work within your framework. I mean, I don't even bring up any kind of spiritual anything or exploration if it's not coming from somebody who's coming to see me and seeking that out. But if a person does seek it out, then I want to work within their belief system and their framework.
Absolutely. Me too. 100%. And we'll talk about it more, because if you're interested, we really want to hear your questions about it, and we'd love to talk more. But suffice it to say that hypnotherapy is a very expansive, powerful way of accessing our broader perspective as human beings and as souls.
Yes.
So let's see. Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't have anything else. I think
Boosting
that's
self-confidence. Self-confidence. Yes.
self-confidence, connecting to yourself, self-esteem. That's a big one, actually. Self-confidence. Yeah, a lot of people with strong inner critics who want to connect to that place of confidence so they can move forward with whatever goals they have in life.
Right. I mean, who doesn't understand what having a strong inner critic is? I think it's a
Right.
uniformal, sort of trait of humanity. And it doesn't have to be there, peeps. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be that rigid, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that in your own head. I mean, you don't have to put up with that. Like, that's the really good news.
We don't have to believe it. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
let it govern our lives.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, it's actually 6:29.
Yes.
And so we're gonna close it up here, but I just want to quickly let you all know that Jen and I are going to be offering training. So if learning how to offer this kind of support to people is something that you're curious about, please contact us, because we'd really love to talk to you about it. It's an exciting career, and it can be an enhancement if you're in the wellness field at all. It's a wonderful enhancement to that career. If you're a coach, a yoga instructor, meditation instructor, mindfulness therapist, art therapist, you name it. It's useful in all of those practices. And we're actually doing a training, and it's a 220-hour training, and it's broken up into 2 modules in person, and then we'll have an online 2-day online in between part of that component to that training. So the first module, which is clinical and transpersonal basic and intermediate hypnotherapy, and that's going to be February 24th to the 28th. And then module 2 will be April 21st through the 25th. And then in between that, actually, we're not going to do in between. Sorry. We're going to have a 1-day, sorry about that. We'll give you all of that if you're confused. March 23rd is online, a full day, and we'll be broadcasting like we are today. And then there's going to be one on May 11th. And after that, you do your coursework and you submit it to us, and then you'll be certified hypnotherapist. So if you're curious about it, you'd love to join the team, Humanity, it's like the perfect time for becoming a hypnotherapist, because there's so much coming out about the effectiveness of shifting thoughts and how important consciousness is to the quality of our lives. And
oh my gosh, even the science that's supporting that now is pretty remarkable. So I think it's going to be a growing field, and more people are going to come into that. I'm also noticing not only people who are already in some kind of practitioner kind of field, it's a wonderful supplement to add to your practice, but there are a whole slew of people I'm finding too who just aren't feeling resonant in their careers anymore.
Careers, that's right.
Careers, and anybody can do this. You just have to take the course and submit the case studies and do some practice, and you can become a hypnotherapist.
It's an incredibly rewarding thing. So if you have an interest in this, or if you have an interest in having Jen and I teach one of our trainings or workshops, or even do a retreat, please contact us. You can contact me at essentialhealing101@gmail.com, or just go directly to my website at essentialhealing101.com. Did I say Gmail the first time? Did I say the same thing?
I think you did.
Okay. So,
you want to say it again?
and I'll put all of that information in the description box on the YouTube channel, and Jen's information too. And why don't you just go ahead and say it out loud?
Okay, so my email is info@themindfulway.com, and my website is www.themindfulway.com.
Perfect. All right, all of you, get busy sending us questions, because we really want to hear what's on your mind. We love you all, and we really think you are just fabulous, and we want to help you in any way we can. So send us your questions and
Yeah, we could do webinars on your questions.
Yes, absolutely. We'd love to do
address
webinars.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this will be on my YouTube channel on The Experience. So if you like this work, please put a thumbs up and subscribe and press the little bell so that you get notifications, because we want to grow our audience, because we want to be of service to you. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Take good care. And thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.